I mean, super exciting that he's back, John. Obviously, he wasn't here last year. I think we all missed him. The fact that he's coming back in such superb form as well. Well, they say that he hasn't played that many matches, has he? He's obviously only done these exhibition ones. What kind of form do you believe he's in, John?
Well, that's difficult to say. He played one of the great matches I've ever seen when he beat Novak at Wimbledon. He was on an incredible high. It looked like he was going to beat him in the tune-up at Cincinnati for the US Open. Honestly, he looked a little physically and mentally spent. He managed to get to the semis, but looked flat. And toward the rest of the year, he just didn't really look like himself. So, look, he's 20 years old. I think he just needed to get away. I don't think he's a guy that needs matches right now, so I don't think it matters that he didn't really play a tune-up. He played a few exos here that don't count for the rankings. So, listen, everyone, including myself, loves Carlos Alcaraz, the way he plays, what he brings to the table, and the joy that he brings when he's on the court. So the fans are going to absolutely love him out there.
Well, he said, hasn't he, Tim, he doesn't need these matches under his belt. He's kind of come out and said exactly what John just said there. He has played these exhibition matches. How much do they help you kind of with your preparations? Do they count?
Yeah, I think they help. They're sort of in between, aren't they? I mean, people talk about, you know, the time they spend on the practice court, but it doesn't really compare to the match court, and probably those exhibitions are somewhere in the middle. But, you know, as John said, I think his game is so sound, and you know, he's played a lot of tennis in the last couple of years, but I think the fact that he missed the Australian Open in 2023 will just sort of, you know, heighten his motivation to really start this season out on a high. And you know, he's such a great player to watch. He's got such variation, plays with such sort of energy and enthusiasm. I'm really looking forward to this one tonight.
Yeah, John, just picking up on what Babsy said as well there. Obviously, his coach, Juan Carlo, isn't with him. He was asked about that quite a lot in kind of pre-press conferences. He said, yes, it's an unknown. How do you think he'll cope with that? You know, he is still really young, and having kind of, not having Juan Carlo in his box, will it affect him at all?
Well, first of all, the exhibitions, they pay a lot better than practice. So I just want to say that for the record.
Touche.
And as far as his coach not being there, this isn't the first time that this has happened. There's been other events where Juan Carlos didn't appear for a variety of reasons. I mean, let's not forget, he's got 3 kids of his own. He's obviously like a father figure to Carlos, and he's done an amazing job. He's a total class act. I'm a little surprised that he underwent arthroscopic, I understand, surgery on his knee before Australia. At least that's what I read. That's somewhat surprising he decided to do it before. Maybe it's worse than I thought. Maybe he's had to practice with Carlos a little bit too much, because he can still hit a pretty good ball, but I don't think that's going to be the difference between him winning or losing this tournament, because I'm sure they're in regular contact every day, is what I'm guessing.
Yeah, exactly. That was correct. Babsy mentioned that as well, John. Well, John's just mentioned he's a massive fan of Carlos Alcaraz, as are we here. And another legend as well has also said how much of a fan he is.
Who inspires you from the young generation? We have so many young ones coming up. There's Sinner, there's Rune, there's so many other ones. Who do you like watching?
Alcaraz, I think, has to be like...
I haven't mentioned him.
Yeah, no, he's remarkable. His athleticism, his spirit, you know, you turn on the TV and if you looked at him, you would have no idea if he's winning or losing, because he just is who he is, and he looks happy to be out there. He looks thrilled, and he's so explosive and so dynamic and has everything that you could ever ask for, you know, from a skill perspective. And then you add his mental clarity and his passion for the game, and it's great somebody to take over the mantle like that.
Well, you can watch that full interview a little bit later on our coverage as well. John, again, picking up of what Agassi said there, explosive, athleticism, all these things are incredible what you see from Alcaraz. Sometimes, do you think a little bit to the detriment that he goes for every single ball, and that's why maybe he needed that extended kind of rest period not to play in these warm-up matches?
Not really. I mean, I think there's a lot of players out there now that are going big and trying to sort of make things happen. That's sort of the style of play. The difference with Alcaraz is twofold. One, he's one of the best volleyers I've seen. He's very skilled at net. He loves to move forward. There's hope. Look, me and Tim Henman love to serve and volley. That's like a dying breed. So to see him doing this is absolutely amazing. And I think you're going to see a lot of young players trying to emulate Carlos, and even some veteran players, actually. And
he was saying there. Sorry, John. Tim can't hear you. I'm just telling you, saying he loves to serve and volley with you. He's trying to serve him. So I think he wants you to repeat it. John, repeat it so he can hear you. He loved that.
You remember? Here we're going to say it once again. Players, folks, used to serve and volley. They used to come to the net. So I'm hoping Alcaraz, and here's the other part I love about Alcaraz. The guy has, you know, and he says this is his best quality, his smile. How in the world he can go through what he goes through, the tension in a big match and the pressure that you put on yourself and that others put on you, and go out there and have this big smile on his face and be able to brush off negative things is, to me, the greatest quality he's got. And that's even more difficult to emulate.